These three letters, IoT, stand for the Internet of Things. It is a network of smart devices, including everything from baby monitors to your smart fridge, or even someone's life support device in a hospital. And there is something seriously wrong with each of those. They are all way too easy to hack. To explain Internet of Things, we can view it like this. Every device with access to the internet becomes a computer. It may not be a standard computer, but it has various sensors, the ability to send and receive data, and it has code. Doesn't matter if it's a smart lock, an AI toaster, or a Wi-Fi connected heart monitor. The problem is, unlike regular computer manufacturers, most IoT device makers tend to focus way more on marketing than on cybersecurity. And this comes at great cost. I mean, take the Amazon Ring camera as an example. This is one of the most known Internet of Things security flops. Just like you can set up the Ring camera to remotely say hi to your cat, hi cat, or the delivery guy, hackers can too, and a few years ago they did much worse. Imagine a stranger's voice suddenly coming through your camera at 3 AM, hurling racial slurs, or demanding ransom money. It actually happened. In one case, a hacker even convinced an 8-year-old girl that he was Santa Claus.
Who is that?
I'm your best friend. I'm Santa Claus.
He's not, and that's creepy. This is video from a Ring camera that was installed in an 8-year-old girl's bedroom in Memphis.
And got her to destroy her own room. That is horrifying. And Amazon had zero excuses. Billions in revenue, armies of engineers, and don't tell me they couldn't have prevented this. By that time, hackers had already proved just how tragic IoT security can be. For example, in 2016, threat actors hijacked over 600,000 devices. Webcams, IP cameras, DVRs, routers, basically anything with an internet connection and weak credentials. And then united them into one massive botnet called Mirai. They used it to unleash a DDoS attack so massive it brought down half the internet. Twitter went dark, Reddit stopped working, Netflix, CNN, Spotify, all unable to function. And it's not like Mirai suddenly disappeared. Huge attacks are still happening to this day, not to mention the copycats, since Mirai's source code was publicly released. It's even on GitHub. Plus, a similar DDoS attack, and the largest one to date by the way, happened as recently as September 2025. Yes, it was also using IoT devices, though this time they attacked Cloudflare and the company was able to block it. Nowadays, a good chunk of IoT device hijacking is actually aimed at the healthcare sector. Smart medical devices, infusion pumps, patient monitors, imaging systems. These often have outdated firmware with security flaws, or they're simply left with default passwords. This leaves space for attackers to install malware, move across the network, and target systems that store sensitive data. Then it's the usual ransomware special. They steal it all, encrypt it, and demand an outrageous amount of money. But why is this happening? Why are Internet of Things devices so vulnerable? Look, I'm gonna put it in 2 words that some of you aren't gonna like. It's laziness and greed. Even after the Mirai botnet, most devices still ship with password credentials. Password, admin. Login, admin. You know the standard. And I'm guilty of this too. We often don't get around to changing it, do we? And I get it, like hospital staff have slightly bigger problems than updating a password, even though it should definitely be done. Or we don't factor in cybersecurity when buying smart devices, like what's the worst that could happen from a smart fridge with weak security? Oh no, they've got my Nutella. But let's not dump all of the responsibility on the little guy. What about the companies that develop this stuff? Shouldn't they make it safe? Yes, they should. Do they? Rush development cycles, prioritizing features over security, weak data encryption protocols, or none at all. Plus, the products either get very rare updates or, yeah, you guessed it, none at all. The focus is to sell you a product, and well, if it's outdated, you can just buy a newer one, right? Plus, there are little to no regulations for IoT device security anyway, which means very few companies actually bother to improve it. That's not even mentioning the scammy smart home security products with fishy pages reselling cheap Chinese stuff for 90% profit and then disappearing from the face of the web after a month. But that's a whole other can of worms. Now, you might think, but Andy, who would bother to even find a smart fridge or let alone hack it? Well, the thing is, it's really not that hard. For example, there's a project famously dubbed as Google for Hackers, but otherwise known as Shodan. Yes, it's named after the malevolent sentient computer from the cult classic video game System Shock. Anyway, Shodan is a search engine for online devices, and the catch is many, if not most of them, are not meant to be public. Unlike Google or Bing that indexes websites, Shodan scans the web for IoT devices. It collects all the info about them, from IP addresses to software versions and open ports, and then makes all this data searchable. As of 2025, Shodan has already indexed 4.5 billion devices, and every month they process an insane amount of data. You can find anything you want there. Random people's webcams, baby monitors, smart thermostats. There were even cases of power plants, crematoriums, or particle accelerators ending up on Shodan, all of which you can access from the comfort and safety of your own bedroom. Now, isn't that just top-tier security? Most IoT devices don't even require passwords, or they're left with default ones that anyone can easily find online. Sure, a single compromised webcam is not a national security issue by itself, even though it's a privacy nightmare. But if you can slowly take over thousands of devices, you can do a lot of damage. Mirai botnet already proved that, and it didn't even need Shodan to gather all that info. It's even scarier that it's basically impossible to tell if a device has already been compromised. There can be absolutely no signs for months or years on end. Yet, even though Shodan does have a concerning amount of what should be private information, it mostly serves the purpose of finding and securing those vulnerable devices. After all, Shodan isn't anonymous. As an unregistered user, you get 10 results, and registered ones can get up to 50, but they have to pay a fee and explain the reason. So if you want to up your Internet of Things security, try actually searching up your IP address in Shodan. You'll be able to see what info your IoT, Internet of Things devices are broadcasting. Another possible solution is putting a VPN on your router, as it will then change the IoT device's IPs and encrypt all the traffic, basically putting a security layer over your whole smart household. In case you want my VPN recommendations, I'll leave a couple of my favorites in the description for you. But the rest of IoT security improvements on our end are pretty standard. Change the default passwords, enable 2FA if possible, and keep your device updated. Or you can go even further by putting your devices in a separate network. The amount of smart devices in our homes is going to increase, and so are the risks. We've built a whole world where everything is connected, yet almost nothing is completely secure. So the point of all this? Just be smart about what tech you're buying and how you're looking after it. Otherwise, your device might just end up in another Mirai copycat attack. By the way, here's something crazy. There was a Mirai fighting malware created to sabotage vulnerable devices so Mirai couldn't infect them. And it managed to brick about 10 million gadgets. So if your IoT device suddenly stopped working in the years of like 2016 to 17, it might have been the so-called janitor's fault. Insane, right? Well, if you want to learn more about stuff like this, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching till the end. I'll see you in the next one.